Yo, what's up, everybody?
Fancy.
How we doing? How we doing today?
We are so happy to be here tonight. We've got a super special guest for you guys. Big Logan is going to be joining us in just a hot minute. But we want to say what's up to all the people in the chat because it's already bumping off. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
we already have a
Ex-Bass
super
guy
chat.
already came in hot.
Do you think cheap D heaters?
Oh, he's talking about the diesel heaters.
heaters.
Yeah, we could talk about that for sure in this live chat, definitely.
We liked ours that we had in our last van before they rebranded. So I don't know what their new name is because when I click on the old link, it just doesn't show up as a product anymore.
They kind of have like 40 different names for them.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't have a problem with it. Bart is in the house. We're wearing your t-shirts, Bart.
Ex-Bass in
I'm like,
the house.
where is it? Urban and Swervin'.
And look at the back.
It says, where Pago at? It's the cutest thing ever. Yo, we absolutely love them, Bart. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we might have to make a bunch of these, Bart.
Oh my
God, you got to see what the people think about them. So in today's live stream, we got an awesome guest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's our guest?
Big Logan is here.
And this guy is cooler than the other side of the pillow. Alex loved when I said that earlier. She was cracking up laughing. But honestly, he's super fun. He makes jokes all the time. His videos are amazing. He's building out rigs now. He just sold the first rig that he built out.
Which I want to hear all about.
Yeah, we want to know more about that. I know a bunch of you guys are actually from his channel. So if you have any questions for him, feel free to ask in the comments. And we're going to introduce Big Logan now.
All right, Big Logan. Let's see if we can. Oh, yo, what's up? He's voguing.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Super duper, man. Can't complain. I'm finer than frog hair split 3 ways right now.
I like it.
Hey, how's your new man cave working out?
It's going good. Yeah, we do a lot of upfitting and renovations on the channel. So yeah, we build the theme of the channel, create, build, explore, and laugh and have fun all along the way. So we do a little bit. That's kind of a variety show. So really appreciate you guys. F&A Van Life, huge fan of you guys. Like before I started my YouTube channel, you guys were a big inspiration to me, and just want to give you guys a shout out and definitely thank you for having me on the stream tonight.
Thank you so much, man. I'm getting some goosebumps right now. I appreciate that. That's so awesome. You know, it's crazy to hear that you've been watching us and all these other people that we're doing these chats with, they're all watching us. And because we have no idea sometimes who's actually out there watching us. And we come across your guys' videos and we absolutely love them. And that's why we invite you guys on the show, because I think it's all about just community and just showing who else is out there and what we're all out here doing. And what I love is we're all out here having fun, man.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. If you weren't having fun, it would feel like work. So let's work and have fun, and let's do it all in one time. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I do like the fact that you guys it looks like you and your buddies were building out the man cave just recently too.
Yeah. We just launched that one. It's ranking top video as far as, when you get our analytics back as creators. It's a top grossing video, and I thought the van tour video would be that #1. Well, the past couple videos I've made, they just keep topping out each other. So it's been fun. But yeah, we do DIY garage type renovation where we do a budget focused but really cool and slick clean finish garage workbench builds and stuff, just to really tune in. I help my family with renovating the garage space with storage and some of the other stuff along the finer details of doing van builds. So, it's a application of practicing building and creating and problem solving with that one in mind as a budget. So it's really fun stuff. Yeah. For those who are watching that are coming over from y'all's side, check out Big Logan channel on the man cave content for sure.
Yes, sir.
I gotta ask, I noticed your analytics blew up in the last couple of days. Which of your videos is like popping off right now?
I think definitely the van tour video is for sure a big popular hit right now, and I've been absolutely floored with the comments and the feedback. And you guys know, being van lifers, it's not only a trendy time to be in this niche, but there's people out there who are trying really hard also to make it. So it's just very, very, I don't know the word to describe it, but just it's very affirmation of the work. So it's been great. Yeah, the van tour video, and also some of the DIY projects on the channel are I think we're going 220% like normal, like analytics wise. Like something's going on right now where the channel is just kind of taking a peak.
It was literally like it was like, oh, boom, like a rocket.
We're just letting it ride. So stuff's happening for sure.
One thing I noticed is that that's going to happen. Like, you're going to have these points where it just shoots off, and you got to ride that wave for a little while, and then it will come back down, but then it will shoot back off again. So it's really all about them sharing you and getting you out there and whatnot. Honestly, like, I love your channel, man. I think it's absolutely hilarious, as well as I learn something from it every single time. The crazy part is I was watching the van tour, or even before the van tour, when you were doing the shower, and we were actually doing the same shower in this new build, and it was just so interesting to see you do it and make it work with like Flex Seal and whatnot, you know. And I thought it was absolutely incredible to watch that, and it gave me hope that I could do something similar like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the shower was a focus again on budget. I wanted to kind of think outside the box. A lot of people said, why don't you do a drop-in fiberglass pan? And the immediate answer to that, and I introduced it at the beginning of the video, was that this is a custom shower pan, a custom dimension. I can't order something off the shelf for this. Next time around, maybe a custom fiberglass mold. But Flex Seal, I've seen people test these in their RVs, do a year-long in-review test up on their RV roofs, coating the entire top of their camper. Exposed to UV rays, water, obviously, hail, storm, and ice, everything. And they just scrub it with warm soapy water, and it becomes a brilliant finish again. So I had to put that to the test and say, let's do the very own and first shower pan with Flex Seal. With cheap plywood, right? The budget was probably about $45 to build that shower pan.
Amazing. That's because I feel like a shower pan in itself can cost a pretty penny, and then building everything around it, and so the whole setup can really rack up.
Actually,
you can paint on that Flex Seal to go up high, so you're almost, even if you want to do a full-on built-in, right? I did a convertible shower system, but if you wanted to keep continuing that up the wall, right, and box yourself in, it's very popular to do a walk-in shower toilet combo. It just made sense. It was $30 for the Flex Seal for a quart. That was 2 liberal coats of it, and that stuff should last for years. So
could you make a bathtub out of it? Debbie wants to know.
Could. I mean, people like as seen on TV, right? They build a screen bottom boat out of it. People say long term, what about the peeling? The peeling I could see from a differential in pressure. You put your weight on it, and there's flexation with your load. Well, this thing was built with 1/4-inch plywood right on top of the laminate flooring. Right, the first thing us van lifers do when we build a van is put our subfloor down, and then possibly our final finish of whatever ornately we want on our floor. Yeah. So this goes right on top of that. You're standing dead flat on your subfloor, so there really is no possibility of any flexation there. So a lot of people are asking about that with road vibrations. The other thing about road vibrations is Flex Seal is a urethane. Urethane is like what balloons are made out of. It's a stretchy rubber, highly elastane as far as chemical properties go. And I don't want to toot my horn. I'm a mechanical engineer by degree, and I have a little background in this. And I wanted, even with that, I could have bought expensive product, but I wanted to put some of that science to the test and save people money, right? Like we can paint up our whole, instead of buying a cut, or say doing even as convenient and aesthetic as it is, peel and stick backsplash, which is really popular for vans, or doing a flexible grout and tile. The weight savings and the cost savings alone would justify trying Flex Seal at least for a year or two. And if you don't heavily use that indoors and you use your outdoor shower, weigh the differences in costs there. Yeah.
Well, actually, one of the next videos we're going to be putting out is like how to build your van on a budget, like how to save money. right? So this is one of the perfect ideas on how to save money in a big way. You're talking a couple $100. You know, you're not talking about $20. You're talking a few $100 when you do something like this.
Yes. I gotta throw a big thank you to. Sorry, Logan. I just want to say thank you to On the Road with Caveman, and also let him know that he just got his name written on the inside of our van, because everybody who does a $20 super chat from now until maybe a week or so from now, we haven't decided yet, is going to get their name painted on the inside of our van before we put our walls up.
Yeah, and you guys will be traveling all over the United States and hopefully other countries as once everything lifts and we can move to different places, you know?
Yeah, so On the Road with Caveman, making F&A van life history with us. And I have to give a big special thank you to Van Vita Travels, because she is just killing the chat right now and moderating for us, and we super duper appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Van Vita, if you could, can you please drop a link to Big Logan's channel as well? That way everybody could figure out where they could find the van tours and all his material that he puts out there.
So we do have a couple of questions from Patreon I want to get to first, because we always do Patreon questions first. But just like a little side, what are you drinking, Logan?
Cold, clean water, H2O, high quality.
Very nice. Okay, let me pull up these questions from Patreon. So the first one. So I guess, did you start, you've only built out one van so far, right? So you're working on your second, or you're about to get into that second one. Did you build the first one with the intention of flipping it?
Yes and no. So ultimately, the idea was to become a van lifer and explore the nomadic lifestyle and really branch out into being a digital nomad. Quickly, I learned that my aptitude and skill set, not only in my past career experience being in technical sales, and like I said, as an engineer, I really saw this as a business opportunity too. So selfishly, in the future, I am definitely going to partake in being a van lifer. But this first one helped me selfishly and unselflessly. I had to sell the first one to get Mountaineer Van Works started.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, because I couldn't handle the expense of keeping that and then trying to build another one to start selling.
Yeah.
I kind of had to do it backwards, where I might have to prove the business model and sell one or two or three first, and then become my own type of identity and road test and be a van lifer. So it was a dream of mine from the start. Selfishly, I wanted to build that van to keep it. But as it transformed, and very, very awesome buyers who bought the van, they got a van that I poured my heart into. That again, I was selfishly wanting to build as my own, but seeing the return on that investment and the time investment and all the skills that I learned, it was a no-brainer to build another one or two or three. Yeah. I mean, you guys are going into a Promaster now, and from a Mercedes, you know, people say, "Oh, you've done a van before. What's the difference between doing a different van?" Well, it's actually night and day difference when you switch the chassis.
Oh yeah.
It's starting over, other than the fact that you may have a better refined idea of your layout because you've been in them. So a takeaway for me as a builder now, I'm identifying as a builder, right? Is that I have those templates, I have experience, and I can streamline and keep the quality just as high. So I'm really excited about building more and eventually want one for myself for sure.
And not only that, the dimensions of the build are different as well. So like, you know, you have more straight walls in the Promaster, where in the Sprinter, you have a big curve happening going towards that top area. So I'm actually looking super forward to building out the Promaster, because I feel like it's almost going to be a little bit easier in the sense of building, because it's more squared off, you know? And also that width, you know, you gain a couple extra inches on the width, where with the Sprinter, it's kind of tighter, especially the older one that we had. So I'm looking forward to being able to utilize that space and, you know, have more open space in there as well.
It's like hanging drywall on a shoebox. It's just like, it's so nice, and it's a good use of space, right? The headroom, if your cabinets can be deep, but then next thing they know, they're going more vertical and you still have that depth.
Yep.
The Promaster was the choice of build right out the gate for me. Not only because it's cost effective, I bought brand new. I honestly think that I'll always buy brand new.
Well, especially if you're looking to turn around and flip them too, because then it gives the buyer a lot of peace of mind in terms of, like, I think your last van had only 1,000 miles on it.
Yeah,
so that's really amazing to be like.
It had 992 until I drove it to do the van tour video and drove it back home. So I was wanting to post it under 1,000, but yeah, and in the OEM, the factory warranty, which 70 Savage, which you guys did a live stream with, huge fan. I drew huge inspiration from 70 Savage. That should not go unrecognized by anybody who's watching right now. I was completely influenced by YouTube to even start building these things, or even salivate about the idea or imagine the idea of living on the road in not a RV, but more of a smaller, a Class B DIY tiny home. So yeah, the new van, it'll carry over the factory warranty, just like 70 Savage said. We do light touches on the electrical system, and other than that, it's no different than a craftsman doing an upfit in that space to build out shelves. We're doing fancy shelves, we're doing cabinets, we're doing sinks, we're doing countertops, beds. But that's absolutely no different than a craftsman doing shelving for a plumbing company or an HVAC company per se. So the factory warranty always resides there as long as your OEM, carries that through. So
yeah, as long as you don't go underneath that hood and start changing stuff underneath there.
Like, right, put a turbo on a twin turbo or something. And for sure.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen the 70 Savage live after this live, make sure to go back, check out 70 Savage live. He had tons of great information on build stuff. And just like Big Logan, we are also inspired by him as well. He makes awesome build videos, and he's so precise in what he does. So go check him out as well.
Let's take a quick question from Defining Adventure before it gets too far lost in the chat. Where did you list your van for sale or find the buyer? Obviously, you made a really beautiful van tour that was specifically designed to help sell the van, because right in the title it says that the van is for sale. So did that help? And then where did you ultimately find your buyer?
That is definitely a two-part answer. So in short, the van sold from Class B camper vans for sale on Facebook Marketplace. There's about 75,000 members and climbing on Facebook. You enter in a very simple criteria to become a member there. They're trying to vet members for being people who post for sale or are looking to buy. There's another Class B site on Facebook, which I just joined. It's about 15,000 members strong. So I may try that one for the next route. I did rvtrader.com. I paid for that. Again, Class B camper vans for sale on Facebook Marketplace is 100% free. I probably got about 12 leads in the first day I posted.
That's awesome.
And interested buyers, the van had its earnest deposit, non-refundable deposit on it in 4.5 days of it being listed. The van tour video started to kind of trickle through people that I was plugging my website, mountaineervanworks.com, for those of you guys who are watching. And what that happened, that has my email address, and people were reaching out about custom builds in the future for Transits, Sprinters, and Promasters, all the same. So there is a culmination of people who want to be added to a pre-sale list for another Promaster, almost identical to Peggy, the Van Tour van. And then there's people who want to do from the ground up design. So that's where something I want to kind of make the record clear right now. As I'm starting out, I've done one van. I want to cut my teeth into at least one more van, being a build to sell format where I invest in the van, follow that vision, and then sell. But very, very soon, Mountaineer Van Works is going to grow into a custom client van building business where we are going to take in clients and design from the ground up, whether they are Ford Transit, Mercedes Sprinter, or Ram ProMaster. or anything European that they can bring into the US. We'll try to custom upfit that for them with a little bit more tenure on my side. So I'm trying to pace myself and not overcommit right now.
Would you be willing to do something like trailers as well and other things like that? Or is it just going to be specifically vans?
Oh, that is a crazy good question, because I actually today just bought for cash a very premium 16-foot box trailer. And I bought it for personal uses. I'm relocating to the great state of Texas for this winter to live with my sister and build in a nice warm climate this winter. You know, I'm a northeastern guy in West Virginia. It's going to be cold here in the winter, and I don't yet have a roof over my head as far as a bay door or rental space like that. So I'm going to Texas, dry weather, clean, warm climate. And I bought, instead of renting a U-Haul, a box trailer. And my wheels are turning already about selfishly building that out as a toy hauler, you know, fold down Murphy bed, multi-purpose space. It's a 16-footer. So up front would have a dinette, solar panel, you know, your electrical, and be like a multi-functioning space. But again, you know, an upfitter like myself, or like 70 Savage and some of these other guys that custom build vans and sell for profit, is we want to undercut the OEM buyer. That is our ultimate goal, right? We want to provide a more premium custom product to the buyer with identical, if not more, options and features than, say, the Winnebago Travato is a Ram Promaster chassis, but you have to have $160,000 to buy that brand new.
Yeah.
But you can go out and buy a Ram Promaster, even if it's from a custom upfitter like me, for, you know, between $75,000 and $95,000. So automatically right out the gate, you save. Or like the rest of us on YouTube, I'm sure there's people watching that are DIYers. Well, the differential there is even greater. So yeah, there's some intent there to do a DIY home-based project. I might put it on the channel for doing a trailer as basically like a toy hauler, multi-purpose space, custom conversion on a really nice trailer chassis.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart decision to make that move, because you're right. Not only are you getting, I think you're also getting a better build than Winnebago Revel that you'd be getting from
custom, and it feels like a home rather than something very.
And you're not using crappy materials. So like even like the little buttons that they use that they have the like little twist ons that pop in and pop out, those things break all the time and fall off and strip. And you know, I honestly believe that they're doing it in a different type of way that isn't as sustainable as something that a person like yourself is going to build.
Yeah. Well, some people kind of referred to, you know, an OEM builder or RV as like an airport bathroom, where it's really plasticky, you know, it's thin edges. It's not very ornate. When you get to do a custom build or a custom upfit, like you guys are doing on your own custom build, you get to pour your heart and soul into it. You get to find those finer finishes, but at the bottom end of it, you get to save money. You get to get those finer finishes by buying on a budget at Lowe's or Home Depot or on Amazon, compile it all together, and it's worth actually looking at compared to, I'm not going to say that a lot of the big OEM upfitters aren't beautiful by any means, but the ones that are absolutely stunning, like I think you and we're capable of, they cost a pretty penny. They cost a lot of money. Yeah.
So speaking of budget, here's another question from Patreon. So does the upfront budget, so I guess because you're not like taking orders from people, you're basically just building, and then whatever you build is what you sell. But so how do you decide like your budget in terms of materials for what you're going to put into the van, knowing that you're going to sell it?
So a couple of big budget items for custom van upfitting is definitely the battery bank. You know, if we want to go off grid, we want a substantial battery bank, and we wanted a premium battery bank. And when we're talking that, we're talking the difference between absorbed glass mat, AGM, or gel versus the big one, lithium. So what we're doing there is swinging the price range between $1,000 or $500 to $4,000. So that is a big budget swing. That's a big decision you have to make right out the gate.
Right.
Yep.
Solar is cheap, $100 per 100 watts, basically. And plumbing kind of falls in line. I actually did a flexible tube versus PEX. I found it a lot more usable and way more flexible versus a PEX line, and not having to do any 90-degree elbows. I don't know if you guys saw the plumbing build series on that. I did barb fittings and premium stainless hoses, and those flex tubes are rated at like 120 PSI. It might be 90 PSI. Don't quote me on that. That is absurdly larger than anything that pump can ever output for a 12-volt marine pump. So some people are saying, well, why don't you do PEX? And quite frankly, it was more of a preference there. But definitely battery bank. Battery bank always comes up. And then putting an air conditioning unit on. If you want to pull from shore power, we want to see, are we going to run an air conditioning unit? One thing as far as budget goes, again, we all know that the budget needs to be spent on the refrigerator. So a DC premium refrigerator versus a dorm fridge for $100 to $150, $200 of a dorm fridge. I would recommend anybody, and you guys probably know this by now, don't spend that money there. Spend good money on your refrigerator on a DC marine grade, catch latch, high efficiency yacht style fridge. So budget for materials alone will range on future builds between about $12,000 and $20,000, depending on features.
Yeah, I think we're finding that right now too, while we're going through our van build and like deciding, okay, do we want to spend $500 on a fridge, or do we want to spend $1,000 on a fridge? Do we want to, get the really expensive brand name, or can we find something that's a little bit off brand? And so for us, because it's going to be our van, brand name doesn't matter so much for us as long as like the quality is there. But I would think if you're trying to resell it, that the brand name would almost be super important, because people are looking for that as like a standard of quality.
So I did it both, right, guys? I wanted to find the cheapest possible DC fridge that had good reviews. Those were mostly the chest style, right? I think was it Arctic or something? It's a chest style fridge, right? It's a DC fridge. I think you're under $500 there for a pretty decent size.
40 quart.
Yeah, I think it was about 40. And I bought Isotherm, right? So I'm one of the guys who went with the name brand, the big brand, but I also got a giant fridge. It was a 4.6 cubic foot Isotherm Cruise Elegance 130 fridge to put in there. That was the main emphasis for the build, though. Almost the rest of the build kind of was built around the fridge itself. So if you want a stand-up fridge, I would definitely lean towards Isotherm. If you want to do a chest style, again, there's definitely other options out there. You don't have to go with ARB or some of the bigger brands. There's definitely other ones out there as far as chest style goes.
Yeah, we have IceCo, and we really like it. We've had it plugged into the house here for basically the whole time we've been building here, because the fridge is already super full, and we have our own stuff that we like. So we have our IceCo going, and it's honestly been really awesome. So no complaints on that. And then almost half the price of like the Domestic or something like that.
And I think for me, preference, I go with the chest style fridge, because it takes up less space in the build, and you could always make it like slide in and out in some type of way. That way it's hidden as well. And you could also make it as like another countertop, where a stand-up fridge can never be a countertop. It's always going to be built into the framing of like the woodwork or something like that. And I definitely agree with you. DC is definitely the better way to go. You're not having to, go up in voltage and lose some type of, voltage there. So DC is definitely the best way to go for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we have another question from Patreon here. One of our users really loves 80/20. I'm wondering, how you found working with that. Did you have to get special tools in order to cutter it? And like, would you choose, like, especially building for other people, would you choose 80/20 over wood or things like that?
Yeah, so I did a sliding king bed, slat bed style, right? When we put anybody who wants to know about a slat style couch or chair or bed, everybody goes like this to explain how it works, right? It's like, it goes like this. So you transform in a horizontal plane, no extra space, but when you slide out, you gain all that, right? And I did that with 2x4s for the last build. Well, that was very heavy. It was a little bit heavier, but the weight budget cumulatively for the van was still very light, about 1,900 pounds. So 2,200 pounds for cargo, water, and personnel. Anybody who wants to actually climb in the van and drive away with it. So 80/20 aluminum, and I'm actually thinking about working with a custom fabricator. Rusto My Garage and Cardinal Scientific are great custom CNC water jet manufacturers, and I'm thinking about doing a custom, almost duplicating what a 2x4 does, but bending aluminum sheet metal into a rectangle. Paco! Paco!
He boxed it all the wrong times.
Getting all fired up. Yeah, so I'm thinking about making my own bed slat, custom for van lifing, and ready to accept the footboard, because we all like our headboard and footboard to be made out of a nice sturdy wood, so we can ornately stain it. And I'm doing the transforming style where it'll slide in and out. I want to custom build that for the next build and future builds for weight saving, but then also for the aesthetic, because a lot of people really prefer a metal bed over a wood bed. Yeah. But 80/20, as far as getting into it, if you don't have a machine shop at your disposal, 80/20, buy off the shelf, right? You cut it to length. You have all the arrangement and assortment of hardware, materials, and bracketry to make all your 90-degree angles or different features. It's about perfect. So
yeah. I got a really quick big shout out to your family for being in here. I love the fact that they support you in what you're doing. It's amazing. I always love to see family and friends supporting the people that they love, you know? So
hey, thanks for watching, guys. Love you guys.
Yeah, heck yeah. Secondly, I have a question, because I'm building our roof rack, you know, and I was thinking the difference between 80/20 as a roof rack, or you know, possibly Kindorf as a roof rack. So, you know, I'm looking at between the two materials. I think I'm leaning towards 80/20, but you know, I just want to know your opinion on it. What do you think?
I got something for you. And I learned from another amazing YouTube creator, highly influential, Louis the Van. You guys have probably seen Louis the Van, right? Awesome people. A build to sell format, like I'm trying to at least follow for the next 1 or 2 builds. They exclusively just build based on their own vision and post for sale. And they do a reverse where they post their van tour video first, and then they publish their van tour builds or van build series after the fact. So you get a lot of great traffic from their van tour, and then they post their van build series all along the way.
That's
very, very clever tactic. I wasn't wise enough to think about that. And quite honestly, building my first van, the mind stretch of that alone was enough. And on top of just vlogging.
I'm amazed that you even did vlog. When we were building our first van, we, you know, tried to vlog and but it was just so, we were both working full-time jobs, you know, coming home, building on the evenings and weekends. We were just like plumb exhausted. And then it got closer and closer to like crunch time. We're about to lose our apartment and like have to move in, and the van's not ready.
Oh,
so
my
the camera gets like left behind because you're just running around like a crazy person trying to finish.
I had 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I can't pick up the camera because I have to knock out this van build in 2 weeks. You know, at the point we were at, there was literally plywood walls, and that was basically it. And I was like, I can't focus on doing both.
I'll tell you, it was a labor of love, and it drew out the building process. I would say at least 2 months. But if I could go back and do it all over again, I don't think I'd change a thing. When I build again, I don't know if I'll go in that high resolution because I was kind of really splitting nuts and bolts. But I would like to at least feature the progress of the next build and highlight any deviations from that existing methodology and update the viewers, right? Like say, hey, we did the Peggy build, the next van build. I'm not going to give her a name yet, but I have a really good one in mind. Yeah, I want to say, hey, here's where we're changing some things up. I'm actually going to do the exact layout, 100%. The feedback has been so great from YouTube. Again, the van tour for sale video on YouTube, the feedback has been phenomenal as far as the layout. Some people said they haven't seen this yet, and I agree with them that it was a culmination of probably 12 to 20 YouTube creators, and you guys have looked at all the different layouts, right? It's a big problem-solving problem to quantify and figure out what you want, and then especially living in it with your experience, you have other demands. So the feedback has been phenomenal as far as sticking to that template. There'll be some tweaks and changes, some changes in efficiency and improvements, as we should always do when we build our next one. But
it's Peggy 2.0.
Peggy 2.0, but with a different name. So back to your question about roof racks. Lewis the Van, amazing YouTube creator, just came out with their Ram Promaster 159-inch high roof, and they bought off of Amazon, I think it was like a $250 roof rack system, which is almost identical to 80/20. So it runs longitudinally down the length of the van, and it interfaces with the stock cargo roof rack bolts on the Promaster. Yeah. So I am definitely considering that, because I put 12 holes right through the roof with die-core lap sealant and butyl tape to mount our 3 solar panels on Peggy. But going back through, if anybody were to want to rearrange or add a deck or add another roof vent fan or a solar panel, or I want to leave that option up to people to reorient and shift.
Yeah.
We actually came into that trouble when we redid our solar panels. We were working with Grape Solar, and they gave us basically this whole big upgraded system, which was awesome. But it meant that we had to rip out the panels that we had and put new solar panels.
And they were drilled into the roof. So with that said, now we pull them off, we have to reseal them, and then we have to drill new panels into the roof. So now you're creating more holes, which means possibility of a leak somewhere.
You know, it just looks messy, and it's like, so that's why we want to do the roof rack this time for sure, because then that would give us the ability to make, have the panels and then also have a deck laid out. But so we might need to look at that rack that he's talking about.
Yeah.
We did buy these metal kind of like shoe box things that have bolts that hook into those brackets. And then you put like your Kindorf or whatever onto those.
Or the 80/20, whatever it is. And I want to make it to where things are you can shift them around if you absolutely need to, you know what I mean? So like you put the boards in a specific way, but say, you know what, I don't want it like this. Lift the panel out, pull the boards down, drop the panel back down, and it's set right back up.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Very convertible space. I mean, the whole interior is meant to be multifunction. Why shouldn't the roof be multifunction?
Totally.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Totally.
So that's kind of what we're going with this time around. So yeah, I'm thinking about definitely using that 80/20. I know with Kindorf, you have the same kind of, you can shift things around, lock it into the tracking system that's in it. I used to use it a lot when I was in air conditioning. So it's something that I've used before. I've never got to use 80/20. So it's going to be a new experience if we get into that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think kind of what our stuff is going to be this time around is more of like, if you're going to mess up in these kind of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
That's funny. So,
we got people coming at you, Big Logan. Big Logan, handsome and handy.
You team bag of shits. Really appreciate it. Shout out, guys.
You got to get that on a t-shirt. That's
TBOS.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Love it.
Question here that I was so a bunch of people want to know where in Texas you're thinking about relocating, because we have some friends.
I wanted to bring out the straw cowboy hat, but I ordered it on Amazon. I wanted to bring it for the live stream tonight. It didn't fit. It put a red dot on my forehead. It was way too small. Apparently, I underestimated my head size by like four sizes, way too small.
Oh, no.
But we are going to a beautiful place, dry climate, undisclosed area around the Dallas area. So, yeah, we will be right around there. I'm not going to disclose the exact location, but it's not far from the Fort Worth stockyards, actually. So, yeah.
That's actually right around where we bought our rig.
Oh, really? No way. The Mercedes or the Promaster?
The
Promaster, yeah.
Oh, no way. Okay. Did you guys drive out there, fly out there to get it?
We're on our way from Oregon to Florida.
Oh, just swinging by. Yeah, no big deal.
So we after we sold the van, we were traveling across the country with Uncle Kevin, the guy that we met along our travels, and he offered to, give us a ride all the way across the country. We made a couple funny videos with him and whatnot. And on the way, we found the rig, and it happened to be in the Fort Worth area. Picked up the rig in that area.
It's never a bad idea to buy in a dry climate, right? You don't have to worry about rust or corrosion, which in Florida, right, we're all used to that. And then up in the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic and East Coast, we have salt on our roads in the snow time, which is a highly corrosive. Midwest.
All about rusty bottom vans.
It was definitely rusted.
Hey, she was broken and busted. She couldn't be trusted.
No. I mean, with the amount of work I had to do on it, the trust.
Awesome.
Quick question here from the Untethered Home. Do you ever think that you will scale up your company to do multiple builds at a time?
Oh man, that's a big question. I'll tell you this. If I were to do 2 vans at once, knowing what I know now from 1 van build, and especially after 2 under my belt, I don't have room to do that in Texas right now without rental space. Long-term vision is to definitely scale into a pole building or warehouse type environment, a controlled environment outside the elements, and 2 to 3 at a time. If we can keep the quality high, absolutely doable, and would probably save 30 to 40% on lead time right out the gate. Every time you make a plywood cut for a cabinet, an overhead cabinet, a vanity, those custom woodworking cuts are the big time investment. Not so much bringing in the appliances or the electrical system. Those are kind of plug and play, right? But the custom upfitting that goes into van building, as far as custom woodworking and the fine craft that makes it aesthetically pleasing, when you're about this far away from the van, you have to make it look good. Where in a house like here, I can stand 10 feet away and it looks great. But if it's really close, it doesn't, like, you want to make it look really nice. If you do 2 at a time and you're in that methodology and that process, I would absolutely want to do 2 at a time, or maybe 3. And if the feedback is still good about the layout, maybe with some, fine-tuned tweaks on it, definitely multiplying and doing 2 at a time would be phenomenal for me as a builder. It's definitely a vision for me in the future, for sure. So from the van tour video, not so much from RVTrader.com, but definitely from Class B camper vans for sale, and then ultimately from the YouTube video. There's probably about a 15 quantity short list of people that are ready for a pre-sale as soon as van number 2 is done, that I'm going to go down through and tell them, hey, this van is almost done. Are there any, very exciting. And there's probably another short list of 6 to 10 clients that want to do custom build from the ground up and do a new layout.
Nice. Well, even just in this chat right now, we've got Debbie wants you to come build her van in Texas. So
okay.
Wait list is just getting longer and longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
S wants to know, were there any "what was I thinking" moments during building of Peggy?
Man, that is a great question. Absolutely, cutting into a brand new van at that point, maybe had 300 or 400 miles on it, to cut in the windows and the roof vent fan. You guys are going to experience that soon enough if you haven't already, but it's always dicey to grab your jigsaw with your metal cutting blade and saw into the side of a perfectly good functioning van and make penetrations into the exterior. So that was definitely a big one. Cutting in the drain holes for plumbing, not so much. All water rolls downhill. So that was a bad putting drain holes in for the shower and the sink to get. We did a 100 mount 15 gallon gray tank underneath. That was a little bit easier on the nerves, but definitely I did a CR Lawrence single pane bonded window in the cargo door. So talking about budget again, a lot of people don't cover this, and I tried to. The van tour or the van build video at that point didn't get a lot of hits, and I understand that. I'm going as kind of a small name in YouTube atmosphere, building a van out. So I wanted to showcase doing windows. But there are other options in doing the CR Lawrence clamp style window that has the two little vent flaps at the bottom. It's a clamp style system, and it's a $750 window. And I was like, come on now. Like, what else is out there that fits right up to the OEM Promaster? What can we do here? We can obviously vent by cracking down our windows and putting the louvers in the front doors, or do bunk side windows that are a little more easy on the wallet, and a roof vent fan or dual roof vent fans to get some cross circulation. So the answer to that was $160 CR Lawrence single pane pre-tinted window for the cargo door. But it is ideal to have that if you are buying a van that doesn't have the cargo door window already in it. And that's because the safety of your blind spot. When you head check to drive into traffic, it is absolutely scary and terrifying to pull into traffic with just your two front doors if you have a straight up stealth camper behind you. So $160 in 3M window weld and single step primer, also by 3M. And we were into having a beautiful black tinted and very aesthetically pleasing window system for that cargo door under $200. So
we actually just made that same choice basically. Also, because the wait times for windows right now were insane.
Yes.
I know that you've kind of been building through the pandemic, so I'm sure you know some of the pains of that. But we go to order this $700 window, and it's not going to get here until like March. Yeah. And you're like, well, there has to be something else. And those two little flappy windows, I'm like, that's not even going to do anything. Why am I paying extra for these little flappers when I have so many other points of ventilation in the van?
Yeah. For us, we're doing not two fans, but we're doing, a hatch open area as well as a fan in the front. So, you'll be able to get that.
And two slider windows in the back.
And the slider windows. So there's plenty of ventilation throughout the van. So that single pane, no windows on that side slider door was definitely a need for us. And like you said, just having that awareness of what is there, looking out that window, I noticed the huge difference from the first van that, we had that window there to now not having it is definitely a very big difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Got to have it. I would say that's a default for anything that I would do buying a van. The other thing, I would always prefer sourcing a van without any back windows in the rear gates, just for a security purpose. If we're defaulting to having a bed in the rear of the van, that would be the first place that I would be really insecure about if I were to sleep in that at night, was people bashing through that back window right by your head when you're trying to get a good night's sleep. And some people are like, man, we're really in tune with buying, rear glass windows in our van. And I would, opt to say, think twice about that. Some side portal, bunk side doors, a little peephole, they might get an arm in there and
even those
chest hair or something, but you just bat them away. That's the worst they can do. They're not crawling in there. So yeah.
Even just moving them forward a bit, so that way they're over your countertop area rather than being directly over your bed.
Windows in our last van. In the back, we had windows, just closed ones, nothing vented or anything.
Just glass.
But we found by the end of us living in it, we 100% of the time had our window curtains up.
Yeah.
Because there was no reason to let them down. It just didn't make sense because you're just going to have to hide it to be stealth again in a little bit. So
I actually built a frame around the inside of the window, and then when we put up the curtain blocker or the blackout shade, it looked like a full black door, so you could barely tell even a window there anymore. And I think that might have been the reason why we weren't getting bothered or whatnot. But
the one time, remember, we did get bothered. We had the window shades down, and I was sitting in the back reading a book. And I look over, and a guy is standing right next to our back windows taking a picture of our license plate.
Yeah.
I was like, hi.
The camera.
Yeah.
And so I was in my underwear and popped open the door and was like, "Excuse me, we have an issue here. Like, you all right?" And he's like, "Screw you guys, blah, blah, blah." It was all like in the beginning of the pandemic and whatnot.
We had everything. You know, he was very upset about it.
And then I wound up talking to him, and by the time he was leaving, he was like, "God bless you guys. I hope you take care and be well." And
oh man,
all contact.
Frankie had to lay the hammer down. Frankie was like, "Whack it, tack it, let's get at it, bro." Man, he's puffing his chest up out there. Yeah,
the Brooklyn came out
on his knees, man. Like, yeah, let's work this out, man. I'm sorry.
He was like hashtag blame it on Brooklyn. He got a little scared of it. But it's all good.
Man, oh man.
You guys are too funny. Okay. Do you have a favorite cabinet hardware to use to ensure that your doors stay shut?
I do. I featured it on episode 4 of the build series, which was how to build your own van cabinetry, I think is what the title was. I found that it's named after an old English mother. It's called the Cranich Catch Latch. It's on Amazon. I don't know if it's named after an old English mother or not. It sounds like an old grandma Cranich. It's Cranich, and their motto of the brand is "We know your RV." What does it say? "We know your RV better than you do." Is what their motto is. And actually, it's a plastic. It's a polymer catch latch, so it's not like the metal. Like where the springs open and you have the thing going in there, but it's a plastic catch latch. It's very tunable. If you don't get it dead nuts perfect, you can sand it into shape, and it just goes like this. So yeah, that's basically what they do, though. But it's
really getting into some trouble here.
They snap tighter than skin on a grape. Let me tell you. So they work great. I use them on all my access panels in the rear. Like, on a serious note, in the trunk area, we got the hydraulic, the plumbing side over here, the electrical bay. I fell in love with them where I wasn't just using them for my overhead swinging cabinet doors, but I used them to hold in just flat pieces of plywood to retain them into a vertical surface. So I put those catch latches in other places too, because they're lightweight and they're pretty affordable, and they come in a nice pack of like 12 or 15. So you find yourself having a few extra, and they're really strong. Cranich Catch Latch.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know who this is for. Would you consider a collaboration with Magnolia?
I think that's your sister.
I think it is your sister.
That is my sister. Open me up. Yeah, so Magnolia Network, and actually, this is kind of premeditative, but Property Brothers producing company, Scott Brothers Entertainment, has actually reached out to Big Logan for an opportunity to do DIY TV pilot series. So it's really huge for me.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, thank you. They found me on YouTube right here, just from some of the DIY projects, and they like my personality. Mm-hmm. I like my personality too. So I told them, yeah, I'm pretty great. I'm the funniest guy I know, type of thing. But there is a potential that I might get casted. It's nothing set in stone. It's out there, but just to get the look and the reach out from their development producing team, getting my portfolio and personality pitched to their executive producing team after the holiday break. In Canada, they break a little bit longer. It might happen. It might not. But it was a huge look. It was a huge, again, affirmation that the YouTube channel's heading in the right direction. The creativity, the DIY, the nature of trying to think outside the box and build and create and save money. I'm definitely budget driven. that I think that should shine through. Building cabinetry. And I hate to say this, 70 Savage, I saved a lot more money than you did on your van build.
Going to be even more expensive.
Buying premium birch, Baltic birch, plywood versus a red oak, or versus a upper echelon pine. If you're doing a painting grade final finish, to do a premium pine, there was ways that I was able to really nip down on that budget. And again, 70 Savage is an amazing builder. All the stuff that he does, whether he paint finishes or not, could be stain grade and final finish quality. He's so meticulous, like absolutely beautiful build. I'm so glad you guys had him on. Huge inspiration for me too. Yeah,
we're bringing all the builders on. We need your guys.
We need your guys guidance. But like I would say, you are like here when it comes to budget. He's up here, and Alex and I are down here.
I would say the same thing about quality of buildmanship.
Yeah, we did pretty good, but I was not a carpenter. It was my first time ever building anything. So to even come out with what we had and be super functional was a great feeling, knowing that we could do it again. And this build is definitely going to be a higher quality than the last one, but we're still trying to do everything on a fair budget. We're trying to do everything, I don't know, and I would say probably under the 15 area, so we'll see how it all works out. Look at Alex's face.
Like, yeah, Hey, that Flex Seal shower saved you a lot of coin right there.
Right.
Y'all's first van build caught my eye. I was really into just van tours. That's how I think a lot of us get into this, is watching van tours and starting to. Y'all caught my eye. The stain finish that you chose, whether it wasn't a premium material or not, dude, it looked great. And I know you guys were bittersweet when you sold her.
Oh yeah,
but she's in better hands now. So yeah.
So all we did was plywood, and we burnt it with MAP gas, and then we just hit it with a polyurethane, and that was it. It was super simple, very, very cheap. Anybody can make a build like that, and like you said, that wood grain just really popped, and it made everything come together. And when we first put it in, it was like this feeling of like, what did we just do? Because it didn't look that good when we first put it in, but when the wall went up and everything was together, it was like, damn, this came out really nice. We were very proud of it for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, my mom thinks that you are very knowledgeable and eloquent. So it must be all your rhymes and catchphrases.
Is mom in the next bedroom, or is this with Frankie? You're Frankie's house.
Screaming about something on the phone.
My mom is so loud.
Sorry if you hear that. My mom.
Ask her where the meatloaf is. Mom!
I never know what she's doing in there.
Yeah, we never know what she's doing back there.
All right, so we only have a few quick minutes left here. So what are kind of your big plans and goals for 2021? Obviously, the new van build is coming, but what are you really looking forward to in the new year?
Step one, watch more F&A van life for sure. You guys have been a huge inspiration to me. I'm going to keep watching, and you guys rock. Step two, build more vans for sure. Again, build to sell format. I'm going to custom build with my vision, post them for sale, Mountaineer Van Works, YouTube. Keep everybody who's interested up to date on any potential sale. And then step three, ultimately, probably by the end of this year, do custom client builds. I think I'm going to move right into that with the beautiful feedback that we've had. Definitely move into custom builds and move into some bigger warehouse space. And take it all in stride and live for the moment and do a good job, make people happy, and also keep vlogging.
Heck yeah, man. We're excited to see more of your vlogs. We do have one more question for you. This is one of our biggest supporters, X-Bass guys. We love him. He's awesome. Always hitting us up with super chats and just, being a big part of the team. Yep. He asked diesel heaters from China or a high-end heater, what would you go with?
All right, here's what we do, right? We test, we evaluate. I would go with the Chinese diesel heater or gasoline model if they're available. They come off the shelf so fast, they run out of inventory. I've already looked at these.
Have you found the gas one?
Yeah, so there's Tunings World. Sells it on Amazon. It's in stock right now. $119 in free shipping.
Woo! We're buying it right this second.
now.
Frank's
Yeah, I have it up. I pulled it up. It's 12-volt system, 5 kilowatt diesel heater. If you have a gasoline system, add a little diesel tank, right? When you service up your water and you go service up your gas, pull around or pull up to a diesel pump and service up. And honestly, it's not going to drain your diesel as fast as you would ever drain a tank of gas, right? I would put it to the test in a heartbeat, but make sure it's accessible so you could retrofit it and pull it out. I wouldn't hard tap it into the OEM fuel system at this point. I would put it in a standalone vanity or somewhere in the trunk or, under the bed or underneath the kitchen sink where you can get to it, service your fuel, yank it out if it breaks, buy another one. If it works for you for a year, buy another one and replace it because you have to buy 10 of them until you can afford the Webasto.
Yeah, agreed.
That was our original logic at choosing the Chinese diesel heater for our first build. And we did get another diesel heater, but then we were just kind of thinking about, should we get something that's gasoline so that it's right into the gas tank? Because it was so handy to have the diesel tank tapped in last time, except that one time that the diesel line melted and then we had diesel fuel leaking everywhere.
Yeah.
Now that we've learned our lesson in that regard, why wouldn't you tap it into the tank?
Just for light touches in case it does fail. For a $119 unit, what are you going to get? You're the person who's testing that. Nobody else writing a review is going to tell you if it's great or not. If you can control that environment and do a good job, just like you do on your freshwater tank or gray water tank to plumb that system up, you should really have no issues. And I honestly think you would sip that amount of fuel in that. They make a really narrow, like 2-inch wide canister that almost tucks away and you don't see it. It remains unseen for those times when you actually do need to use it. If you do want to go hardcore into plumbing that sump line in, you would want to ferret underneath either the captain or the passenger cherry where the Webasto, normally resides.
Yeah.
But I've thought about this a lot. I've really thought about doing a standalone unit. Some of them even come with their own little canister. They make a nicer, more formal one. And I'm pretty sure you can sump right out of the top of that vessel. So you should have no worries of leak. By the time that fluid is coming out of the top of that canister, it's in full suction into a supply line. And if you securely mount it, you should be okay. A big question for me on the van tour and posting for sale was if I had shore power and if I had a heater. And then also if I had an AC unit, which an AC unit at this point, kind of off the table, probably going to do a dual roof vent system for vent fans for good cross ventilation and decent amount of solar up top. But I will definitely put the most affordable option for a heater, whether diesel or gasoline in the next build.
Yeah, I could totally say in the year that we were driving around in our last van, that diesel heater, the Chinese diesel heater, that was $120 at the time, came in super handy. It worked the whole entire time, even in high altitude. We just had to find where pump speed worked for it, and that was it. And it literally worked wonders for us the whole entire time we were out there. The difference for us is we travel in the winter a lot because we snowboard a bunch of different mountains last season, which we probably will never spend that much time in the winter again, you know, being the fact that Alex doesn't want to do that yet. But yeah, I mean, that diesel heater was by far the best investment we made in that van. It was a
workhorse. It would just go and go and go and never had any trouble. And when it did like default and like go into error, you just like don't touch it for a little while and then turn it back on.
Or look up the E error. Literally look up the E error online and it will pop up on Google like this and you'll know what's going on with it and you just fix that issue, whether it's your low battery consumption or whether it's diesel like air in your fuel line or whatever it is. If it is air in the fuel line, there's a really big possibility that you installed the pump improperly. So that's just something to think about.
Just for Hot, if you could do us a favor and post the link when we're done to the gasoline one that you found on Amazon, because we have some friends asking for that and also us. So we might sell it out in a real hot minute before we get to go buy it. Said that he picked up 2 heaters, one as a backup, which is a lot of heat for a small little space. You will be definitely warm.
If it fails, it's plug and play for him. Plugs the fuel source in, swaps it out for $100. if you're freezing cold in the middle of the night and you fail, like I think the Chinese diesel or gas heaters are definitely go. There's been a lot of rave reviews on YouTube. I'm sure you guys have watched them too. Man, there's a lot of good things said about them, and there's definitely a market for them. There's a reason that they're all sold out and hard to come by.
Yep.
Yep. I feel bad because I know we're supposed to be wrapping up, but Kim wants to know, have you looked at the Goal Zero 6000X? It's all in one system. She's wondering about that for her solar, because I guess she doesn't want to install a whole system herself.
Well, I would say that there is a lot of awesome plug-and-play systems for solar. I went with the Renogy DCC 50S. As far as plug-and-play, you plug your solar panels in, you plug your alternator in, and you plug your battery in, and it self-regulates all three of those features all at once. I will do that in every van I do. The Victron, like 70 Savage, again, huge inspiration. A lot of people do the Victron system with the smartphone monitoring of your battery bank. The Renogy DCC 50S solar and alternator charge controller is by far the most easy plug-and-play system. It'll take solar, it'll trickle charge your starter battery in your house battery bank, and vice versa. When you're driving, it'll alternate your starter battery and your house battery bank. And then when you're parked and using load, it always self-regulates and modulates all that. And in fact, I found this out. There was a guy in UK who did this. He plugged in shore power right on top of the two prongs for input from solar into that solar charge controller. So if you have shore power and you want to charge, well, all you have to do is simply plug those leads in on the very easily definable and readable outputs and inputs of that charge controller. The charge controller does not know if it's solar coming in versus a charger. So it'll modulate that voltage coming in when you plug in 120 volts at a house, friend's house, neighbors, families, shore power to campsite, or a portable generator, and will run off of a $100 Amazon 110 volt battery charger. And you can run it right through your Renogy DCC 50S solar and alternator charge controller without it knowing a thing, and it will modulate everything as if it's all running off of solar in the middle of the night. So Renogy DCC 50S is my absolute plug and play go-to for the brains of the electrical system.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, this will be our actual very last question. Ken wants to know, if that deal with the Property Brothers go through, are you going to be busting out your skinny jeans? So fabulous on the team.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of skinny jeans that come in the future. That's for sure. Yeah, if I go on big screen, which it would be so surreal. They asked me what my future was in YouTube because I think they gave it a serious look. Knowing that people like you and me, we trend in the future towards success.
Yes.
We're starting out. We're young. We're honest. People like us. You guys watching, hope you guys like all of us. We like you guys too, for sure. There's a future for people like us who like to broadcast and do this stuff on our own. So if I go big screen, it would be a part-time gig at best for doing a pilot series. So YouTube is definitely going to stay main focus, and there will be no skinny jeans on YouTube. I guarantee.
Yeah, on the main screen, though, you'll be cowboy hat, deep V, hair hanging out, and tight jeans.
Yeah, we don't wear shirts on my YouTube channel. I mean, we don't do that. But yeah, well, I mean, we won't wear skinny jeans either. So who knows what we'll wear? Maybe we won't wear anything. We never know.
All right. Thank you so much, Big Logan, for being with us tonight. We super appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who participated in the chat. Thanks for everybody who donated a super chat. We really appreciate you.
Stay on with us too, Big Logan, because we're going to get out of here. We'll chat with you a little bit more on our end.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Our next video is coming out on Saturday. We're going to have a vlog about how to save money for your van build. It's going to be really great.